everyone, and welcome to Bad Brews, a place where intelligent people, good decks, and good players don't exist. Today, we're playing a wee bit of Spright Nephthys. The idea behind Spright Nephthys is that all the Nephthyses are level 2, and the Sprites like level 2s. And that's the synergy, you know. Also, Divine is a 2. You know, just really bringing the deck together. Anyway, other than that, let's just get into the card by card. You know, we're going to start off with the most important part about any one Nephthys deck, the Sprites. We have free Jet, 1 red, free blue, 1 carrot, free starter, and a Smashes. And after that, we have 2 Nimble Angler, free Beaver, and that is it for the generic Spright package. The Angler's here to be sent off the Sprint, and then summon out more Beavers. Beavers here to normal summon the Angler, and then we can use that in order to go into the Sprint, in order to send another Angler, summon out the other 2 Beavers. Just give us a bunch of free material. Other than that, we have the staples, free Ash, 2 triple attack, free Frostby, and free Evenly. And, you know, I guess we should probably talk about the Nephthyses. We have 1 Chronicler, 1 Disciple, free Devotee, free Rebuff, 1 Diviner, and free Pre-Prep. Chronicler of Nephthys, target a Nephthys card in your graveyard, except another Chronicler of Nephthys, destroy a card in your hand, and then add the target to your hand. And if it's destroyed during your next standby phase, you get to add 1 Nephthys card from your graveyard to your hand. Disciple of Nephthys, during your main phase, destroy a card in your hand, and then add a Nephthys monster from your deck to your hand, and during your next standby phase, after it gets destroyed, you then get to add a Nephthys spell trap. Devotee of Nephthys, when it's ritual summoned, you get to summon out any 1 Nephthys monster from your deck, but destroy this card during your end phase. And if this card's in your graveyard, destroy an Nephthys card in your hand, and then you get to special summon this card back. You have free Rebuff. It allows you to ritual summon any 1 Nephthys ritual monster by doing like the normal Nephthys stuff, but it also has the added on effect. If you tributed Devotee or Cerulean Sacred Phoenix, you then get to destroy a card on field. This is amazing. 1, it's situational removal. 2, it allows you to use pre-prep since it technically says Devotee of Nephthys down there. Divine is entirely here to be summoned off the Gigantic to just find whichever half of the ritual package you're missing. If Spright Elf was still legal, you'd play 3 of this. Spright Elf isn't legal though, so we play 1. Then you have free pre-prep, like I said before, can search out Devotee and the rebuffs. In the extra, we have 1 Arclight, 2 Zeus, 1 Downed, 2 Gigantic, 1 Jin, 1 Shadow Mosquito, 1 Mechanic Crusadia Avramax, 1 Dark, 1 Pit Knight, 1 Bujinkia Shinama, 2 Sprite's Friend, and a IP Masquerena. Then in the side we have Kaijus, Fenrir, the 2nd Diviner, and a Nephthys for going 2nd, a Harpies, True Cosmic, a Coldbuy, and free D-Barrier. And with that, let's get into the games. Alright, so our first game is going to be up against a Shadol branded Shizu T-Element pile. I always love decks like this, mainly because they do like everything turn 1 and nothing. They'll activate like 18 effects and then just end on like set 1 pass. Anyway, we are on the draw, so we will start off with a Frostby, banishing 3, revealing Jet and 2 Beavers. We're going to take the Jet here, normal summon the carrot, special the Jet out, Jet effect, we'll add a starter, then we're going to overlay these 2 for a Gigantic, detach 1 in order to summon out the Diviner, realize that I forgot to add Arclight, then we are going to activate starter, summoning out a blue, blue will add the red, then we're going to link these 2 off with the Sprint, send the Angler effect, we'll summon out 2 more Beavers from your deck, summon out the red from your hand, and then summon out the IP Masquerena and pass turn. Our opponent will start off with a Shadol Fusion, and then they'll activate both their graveyard effects. We'll then activate the Sprint in order to force out their fusion. They'll then try to negate. We'll negate with all red. They will then mill a shit ton of cards, including all of that. That we'll then IP into our Avramax, and if they cannot find an out to this, that might just be the end of the game. They will fuse into a Dragon's Tapalia, add like 18 cards to their hand, and then they will change our red to a level 1. You know, it's pretty nice. And pre-prep. They'll set 4 cards, and we draw a pre-prep turn. We will activate pre-prep, Devotee, and then we will removal. They will then try to negate our stuff, but then we will negate that using our red by distributing that, and since we have another Nephthys in hand, we can just summon it back. And make it Gigantic. This is why this is such a convincing level 2 engine. Gigantic summon out Blue, Blue will add Jet, Jet will add a Smashes, we will then switch our Red to attack and try to get in for some amount of damage, and we reveal that one of those set cards was a Squamata. They'll eat the blue and then we'll just get in for like slightly over half. We'll set our Smashes and pass back to them. They will start off with a Grief, summon out Marley, Marley affecting Grave, and we will negate that with the red. They'll then reveal the Shadow Fusion, fusion out the second fusion, activate a Guido, we will then banish their fusion. And that hopefully should be all they wrote. They will summon back the Aluba and also get this Sully Search. They will then summon out the Keklos, mill another free. And they whiffed, and then they'll activate the Sulliak on field and then pass back to us. This will hopefully just be enough. We will then activate the Devotee Engrave, trying to tribute the Ritual spell, but it will be negated and shuffled. They will then send their Cash the Element in order to mill a couple more cards, realize that we've got this on board, and they will concede. Alright, it's time for Game 2, and this Game 2 is going to be played against a little bit of True Draco. This is going to be so much fun. Anyway, we're going first yet again. We're going to normal summon the Diviner. This time I actually added the Arc Light, so now we get to send it in order to add the Ritual Monster. Then we are going to add that. Pre-prep in order to add the Ritual Monster Ritual spell. Ritual summon out the Ritual Monster. And then we are going to Disciple, pop the Chronicler in hand in order to search out the last remaining Ritual Monster. Summon Gigantic, Gigantic summon out Carrot, then we're going to summon out the blue from our hand, and then add the red, and then we're going to summon out the Jet from my hand, adding this Mashes, then we're going to summon out the Sprint, sending an Angler, Angler will then summon out 2 more Beaver. From here we're going to IP red and pass. Our opponent will start off by tributing over a True King's Return in order to tribute summon out a Majesty Maiden, and then we will respond with, and then the True King's Return will try to destroy our Sprite Red, but then we'll chain our Sprite Smashes in order to threaten to banish something, and then they will chain their Majesty Man, and then we will negate and destroy it with red. Chain resolves, both of our lads get banished, and nothing really happens. Then we will summon out the Avromax, and again, this will just be end of the game. If they cannot find a convincing out, they will flip over the anti-spell. We will get our Chronicler of Nephthys to hand us back our Rebirth, and then we will just swing in for exactly half their life points, set the 2 spells in our hand face down, and then pass it back. They drew a Ritual spell for turn. They'll tribute over their own anti-spell, activate their field spell, which did nothing. Anyway, from here it should just be that easy. We're going to tribute the other Ritual Monster in order to snipe their little fucking skill drain. Let's go. Hit that card. Activate Stardust, summon out blue. We will then negate their summon limit with the Carrot, and from here they will realize that they are fucked and will concede. And you know what? Past 2 games have gone pretty well. I think we can take on something better. That's right, this third game is going to be played against Tenyi Sword Soul. Anyway, we're going first yet again. We're going to activate the pre-prep in order to add the Ritual Monster Ritual spell, and they will draw and lock us. And no matter, we have the Nimble Beaver summon out Angler, summon out Sprint send another Angler, summon out 2 more Beaver. Link off for Pit Knight early, Rebirth, summon out the Devotee, which will then summon out a Disciple. I'm not gonna lie, this end board sucks ass. I definitely could have done something better if I just summoned out the Gigantic and tried summoning out more sprites. I didn't have to, like, in my mind I was like, oh, if I summon out the Gigantic, I'm gonna have to, like, summon out the blue. No, I can just summon out, like, a red. I can summon out, like, red Carrot. I can summon out something that might actually do something. But no matter, I have Pit Knight early, which will respond when IP links itself off for the Avromax, you know. Yay. Anyway, our opponent is going to start their turn. They're going to Pot of Desires. And, ooh, that's a pretty fucking weird one. Anyway, they're going to summon out the Ashana from their hand, and then they are going to link it off for the Monk of the Tenyi. Then they're going to summon out the Adhara, activate a Shana effect, summoning out the Vishuddha, and I am just going to Shotgun IP for no reason. They are then going to summon out the Zhizhao, and then they are going to add the Long One, summon out the Long One from their hand, synchro into the Xingling. I actually, what the fuck was this called? Yeah, Xingling, I actually got it right, goddamn. And then going to banish the Avromax on our field and the Disciple in our graveyard in order to summon. Then they're going to summon out a Moye, and then that will synchro for a Draco Berserker, draw a infinite impermanence off the top. You know, that infinite impermanence is really going to put in the work in this game, you know? Anyway, you know, it was a close game, actually. You know, and despite 2 flawless victories against our first 2 opponents, and an incredibly well-fought and close match against the third opponent, and the other 10 matches I lost and just did not show you. You know, this deck is pretty alright. If I did have one suggestion, I would say adding one of these lands, the Conductor of Nephthys. It's basically just a better Devotee, because this thing can like cheat out your Devotee and get you 3 instead of 2 monsters. As this can summon out the Devotee, then Devotee will summon out another one, giving you free material. Also, it's just really good for recovery. You can destroy a monster in your deck, which can be the Chronicler, and then the Chronicler can then add one of your like monsters from your graveyard back to your hand. Granted, that will take you a couple of millennia, because this one will activate during your next standby phase, and then that one will activate during your next standby phase, so, you know, if you live to turn 6, go nuts. But other than that, I guess I'd give this deck a solid 6.5 out of 10. It's definitely one of the worst shells you can put a Sprite engine in, but it's definitely one of the funniest. Anyway, join me next week when I lose more brain cells.